Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janex.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
You are excited. How was your weekend?
I'm excited with you. Good morning to
I like
you.
your
You know
yellow.
why we're laughing? If only they know the racket that goes behind this studio.
Goodness. That's where the real show is.
Yes. How are you, Mrs. Abiola?
I'm great, thank you.
You look
How are
excellent.
You?
I
So
love
do
your
you.
word. Great, thank you. Good morning, Rufai.
Hi, good morning, Oji. How are you?
Good, we missed you on Friday.
Oh, thank you. Missed you guys too. Missed you guys like crazy, but I'm happy I'm back and I'm well.
Yes, you look
Thank you.
great. You look great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, former President Donald Trump returned to the public stage over the weekend at the North Carolina Republican Party convention. And in his usual fashion, he attacked Dr. Anthony Fauci over his handling of the coronavirus and demanded that China pays $10 trillion in reparations to the United States and to the world for its own handling of the virus. He also urged nations to cancel their debt to Beijing.
We should all declare within one unified voice that China must pay. They must pay.
And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, welcomed their baby girl, Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Her name pays tribute to both Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Harry's late mother, Princess Diana. In Germany, David Dushman, the last surviving Soviet soldier involved in the liberation of the Nazi death camp at Auschwitz, dies at age 98. In Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the family and members of the synagogue, Church of All Nations, on the passing of Temi Tokpe Balogun, popularly known as TB Joshua, who died at the age of 57, 2 months after he suffered a stroke. And outrage over the federal government's ban of the microblogging platform Twitter in the country, as the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, insists on the prosecution of violators of the Twitter ban while Nigerians opt for virtual private networks. Under sports, 20-time Grand Slam tennis champion Roger Federer has announced his withdrawal from the French Open, despite reaching the 4th round, to focus on his primary objective of winning a 9th Wimbledon title. Finally, under entertainment, American actor, film director, and political activist Danny Glover over the weekend shared his support at a Stop Asian Hate rally in New York's Chinatown.
At this particular moment, had to stand on the right side of history. We had to stand for justice, and we had to stand against hate. That's what no Asian hate. No Asian hate. We have to stand there.
Let's begin what's trending following the controversy over the ban of microblogging platform Twitter in Nigeria. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project sent an urgent appeal to the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Dame Patricia Scotland, to consider recommending the suspension of Nigeria from the Commonwealth. The group urged Ms. Scotland to apply the Commonwealth Charter to hold the Nigerian government to account over the unlawful suspension of Twitter and the resulting repression of human rights, particularly the rights to freedom of expression, access to information, and media freedom, as well as the flagrant disregard for the rule of law. In the meantime, despite the directive by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, to persecute violators of the Twitter ban in Nigeria, the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, on Sunday, dared the minister by tweeting barely 24 hours after the directive. The governor joined many Nigerians who have switched to the use of virtual private networks to bypass the blockage initiated by mobile operators. Well, Tundu, I guess Governor El-Rufai is above the law at this point. Tweeting last night, a lot of Nigerians were wondering how he dared to do that, because, as you know, the Attorney General of the Federation has insisted that he will prosecute, that Nigeria will prosecute people that violate this Twitter ban. And, you know, I think that the media also asks, how are they going to do that? You're an attorney, you're a lawyer. You should tell us how the Attorney General intends to prosecute,
Well, I imagine the
violators.
Attorney General has a time machine. It's going to take us back to 1985 when that was possible, when we had those kinds of, retroactive laws in Nigeria, and such a thing should never reoccur in a democracy. As for Governor El-Rufai, he's not daring the Attorney General. I referred earlier on in the show during the news headlines to George Orwell's Animal Farm. The animals, some are more equal than others. She's showing you that he is above the law. This is what happens in China. It happens in Iran, where Twitter is banned, but Chinese officials, Iranian officials use Twitter to blast their critics, but their regular citizens don't have that access. So this is what has been done here, and it's really sad to see. I can't believe I just mentioned Nigeria in the same breath as these two countries that really have very repressive regimes. And I have to say once again, another thing Nigeria has in common with those countries is that they also have really archaic, backward citizenship laws, whereby a woman from Iran who marries a foreigner cannot give her husband Iranian citizenship, just like Nigeria. We are towing the path of all the wrong countries. North Korea is another one.
Yes.
Twitter is banned in North Korea, but the officials can use Twitter when it's time to, drag their opponents and critics over the coals. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, we're going towards dictatorship, Dr.
I think
Abati.
the big issue you are dealing with here is the irony of it. The Nigerian government says it had suspended Twitter indefinitely, but even the announcement was placed on Twitter. And a lot of people were shocked that that would be the case. And then subsequently, you had Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State putting out two tweets, one about the Nigerian Labour Congress and the other one about an article that had been written by a Serbian-American journalist, also on Twitter. But it's not alone. As Tunu pointed out, yes, in North Korea. North Korea is one of those countries that banned Twitter, but its officials still use it. Chinese officials also have banned Twitter, but they also occasionally put out tweets on the same platform. So it's ironic. And, Nigeria has now joined other countries that have banned Twitter, either occasionally or temporarily or fully. And that includes North Korea, China, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uganda for a point, Cameroon at a point, New Zealand at a point of crisis. But the question is, and which is the major point that relates to Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who posted that article by the Serbian-American journalist. I think his name is Nebulisa Amadric, something like that. And the question that guy was raising is that, look, it looks like Nigeria has gone where the United States under Trump could not go. You recall that when President Trump, as he then was, well, he's a president for life, when he was first censored by Twitter, he put out an executive order. That executive order was ignored by Washington, D.C. officials. They saw it as nothing important because institutions in the United States are strong. You can't just come as an individual and violate democracy. Now, after the January 6, 2021 incident at Capitol Hill, President Trump was fully banned, right? And he remains banned up to today. And Facebook has also added to that ban. Nothing has happened because it's been recognized that nobody, can violate the democratic system. And that piece that Governor El-Rufai referred to by Malik, the guy's surname is Malik, was saying that, look, in Nigeria has shown a good example that the United States cannot follow. And it was raising the question, who is in charge here? I'm quoting directly from that article. Is it Twitter that is in charge of other countries because it has a platform? Or is it the governments of those other jurisdictions? Now, you can debate that from today till tomorrow. Because the Nigerian government, that article in fact sounds like it's supportive of the Nigerian government to say that if you are a government, you have a right to regulate what happens in your environment. And that Twitter or Facebook cannot just come around and say, this is how we will operate here. But the ancillary questions that have been raised are also relevant. Earlier on, I was talking about the rights of the citizen, the Attorney General of the Federation, saying when you go to court, you will know the law that is holding you. Now, that's not how it is done. Every law that is operative in a society is spelled out. And you should know it under Section 36. It's not when you get to court that you go and discover this mysterious law. And that's why a group like Socio-Economic
Rights and
Accountability Project set up is calling on the Commonwealth to take on the Nigerian government. It's also saying it will go to court to challenge this. And it should also be noted that other countries of the world have challenged the Nigerian government. So there are issues of rights, there are issues of sovereignty. Okay, I'm not saying one side is absolutely right, the other side is absolutely wrong, but I think the conversation is useful. But to the extent that this hampers the rights of the ordinary Nigerian, that in itself is a big problem. And I hope that we're not reaching a stage now where the Nigerian state is deciding to teach Nigeria, to give Nigerians shock treatment, to impose a regime of fear and to intimidate people. I do not want to wake up one morning and on my way on the streets of Lagos, I'll be stopped. And the police will say, we want to check your phone. Have you been using Twitter? Because that will be a Twitter police. We have more important problems that we need to worry about than creating a federal Twitter task force.
Well said, Dr. Abati. We'll take another story. Now, Ekiti, Nigeria. Over the weekend, Yoruba Nation secessionists, led by Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, tripped out in their numbers for an agitation rally. The secessionists took over the streets for several hours, flaunting placards and handbills, outlining reasons why the Yoruba Nation should sever existence from present-day Nigeria. Sunday Igboho, surrounded by the mammoth crowd, declared that there will be no election in the Southwest in 2023, demanding that the Yorubas want their own government. The secessionists danced to anti-Nigerian songs and to the proposed Yoruba Nation anthem, while rejecting Nigeria in totality.
For the island are black, navy blue check, Yakama, 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 Yakama. That's the love is too much. 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 Yakama, Yakama, let's go. The love is too much. The love is too much. The love is too much. The love is too much.
Well, in the meantime, the Minister of Interior and former Governor of Osun State, Rauf Aregbesola, over the weekend condemned Yoruba Nation agitators, describing them as ignorant and foolish for demanding secession. He warned that the crisis that might engulf the country if a war broke out could last for over 50 years, adding that Nigeria is the reason the Western nations respect the black man globally. Rufai, your analysis on this story. I mean, I don't know how this rally would help these agitators. I've always thought that, they could come together and, argue some sort of referendum instead of going through all of these rallies. And I don't know if you agree with the Minister of Interior calling these agitators foolish.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with the Minister of Interior, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
Why we are having all of these problems is because of the failure of leadership. Darren Asamoglu wrote a book, Why Nations Fail, and he says, the reason why nations fail is because their leaders make them fail. Simple. Let's even dial back. What caused the start of this agitation in the first place? There were killings. There was complete disregard for the plight of people in the Gowon area. Just to show you how community conflicts snowballs into something bigger. And there were repetitive warnings that some marauders are coming in to kill people in the Gowon area, just like they killed them in droves over the weekend. And nothing was done. And Sunday Igboho had to say, oh, my only response to this is, we are not loved in our country if we can be killed, then let's declare Yoruba Nation. Is it entirely the best solutions? No. But why can't we tackle the root cause of all of this problem? The failure of leadership. The failure of protection. Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution says, security of the lives of people is the responsibility of government. Government cannot protect people in the Gowon area. That was shown over the weekend. You need to see the devastating, gory pictures coming out of there.
Yes, we have those. I'll show that later on.
Why can't we get to a point in this country where government can protect the people? You see, I keep going back to my final analogy, that if we fix the problem of leadership in this country, and people have leaders that they can truly believe in, all of these agitations will simmer out. all of a sudden. But when you don't have it, it continues. There are a lot of ungoverned spaces in Oyo State. Oyo State is about 30,000, close to 30,000 square kilometers of land. Oyo State is about the size of Israel. And if you don't have those areas guarded, and marauders come, and they hurt people, and they kill people in very gory circumstances, people will protest. They will fight. And that's why you're seeing all of this agitation. So the minister should focus on how we can provide security and a better list of livelihood to the people and provide protection for them. The reason why we're hearing all of this agitation is because the people are not seeing the government do what it ought to do. And that's the truth. Let's call it a spade a spade. That's the truth of the matter. I think it was Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of America, that said, anywhere injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So why are people resisting in all parts of the country? Not only in Yoruba land, in Igbo land, and everywhere. It's because injustice has become law. It's because people are coming in to kill other people and they're not being brought to book. It's because we are seeing gory pictures like what happened over the weekend, and the palace of the Oba was being burned and nobody is brought to book. And that's why people are resisting. So when you say, oh, don't talk, you are throwing the baby away with the bathwater. Can the Nigerian state solve the problem of security for its citizens? Can the Nigerian state effectively protect and police its 923,000 square kilometers of land? Why are we having all this problem? A lot of ungoverned spaces that the government can't protect. Look at Niger. Niger has 76,000 square kilometers of land. Look at Borno. Borno has 70,000 square kilometers of land. Ungoverned spaces, so bandits, marauders, and the likes are allowed to roam free. Look at Oyo State, over 30,000 square kilometers of land. They can't be protected because we don't have enough forest rangers. So except we solve this problem, you keep seeing resistance because they can't be killing people and you don't expect people not to talk. Let's call it spade. So the minister should be talking about how we can douse tension down and how we can provide security for people. And he's the Minister of Interior.
All right. Well said, Rufai. We'll take another story. As the drums of war continue to sound, despite the intervention of stakeholders who believe that Nigeria might not survive another civil conflagration, a video of former head of state Yakubu Gowon has emerged in which he spoke about those fanning the embers to be ready to take responsibility.
Why do you think Ojukwu left Biafra? Was it because he was a coward? Was it because he felt that he stood in the way of a settlement?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. The foreign press that seem to know him better than I do, seem to give him all sort of excellent quality, so much above in fact than the rest of us. Ojukwu, the gallant chap who said, "I will fight to the last man, and I will be the last one, that will fall." What a pity! How are the mighty fallen? Ojukwu ran away and left these poor people that he has led into such suffering, such abject position. Just left them, and now probably because with the money he has amassed outside, I suppose he will go and live in joy and plenty. If at all, those who are supporting Ojukwu allow him to really get away with what he has done to his people, to Nigeria, to Africa, then I think they need to examine their conscience.
You talked about the two races you've been running. The first, the war, which you've now won. Secondly, the race to secure the confidence of the Igbos again, to reintegrate them into Nigerian society. Now, how are you going to be able to do that?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, right from the beginning of these operations, we've never taken the Igbos as enemies, as Ojukwu has made them to believe and has made the world to believe. As far as I'm concerned, the Igbos will be treated as an equal citizen in this country. There will be no second-rate citizens in Nigeria unless by their own behavior and performance. And this applies to any Nigerian whatsoever.
Tundu, I believe it was over the weekend we were chatting and you said that you did respect and you did like what Ojukwu tried to achieve with Biafra. But you could see the general saying that he will treat Nigerians the way that they all should be treated, and Igbo people will be treated as equally as all Nigerians.
I do like the video that you shared, and it puts a lot of things into context, doesn't it? And it's unfortunate that that promise of there will be no second-class citizens in Nigeria has not quite come true. That's not what we're witnessing now. That's not the lived experience of a lot of Nigerians. And this is actually very sobering watching this. And he's also making a really good point about youthful exuberance, idealism, wanting a particular outcome for your people based on, facts, but there's a way you go about it so that it does not cost everything. I just think the Civil War costs too much. It's the starving children, the civilians that died, the needless suffering. 3 million people died. Nigerians killed Nigerians. Nigerians starved Nigerians. That is what, for me, I can't swallow, ever.
Yeah, right. Dr. Abati.
Well, quickly, at the time that General Gowon made that statement, that was about the end of the war. He was born in 1934. He was 36 in 1970 when the war ended. And that was a war general who was committed to the philosophy of saying going on with one Nigeria. And you could see that it was quite exorbitant that he had been able to achieve his objectives. And after the war, he introduced, in 1973, the NYSC. He talked about reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. I think it's one of the major fault lines in Nigerian history that many years after, the affected persons in the Southeast who lost over 3 million people, who had over 5 million children afflicted by kwashiorkor, that since that 1970, General Yakubu Gowon is still alive, that in the reckoning of the people of the Southwest, the Civil War has not ended. And that, I think, is the big problem, one of the big problems, one of the notorious questions that Nigeria has to resolve at the heart of the big Nigerian question. And what is that big Nigerian question? It's about whether the amalgamation was worth it, whether the amalgamation has not expired, and whether or not Nigerians should not come to the table and try to resolve many of those big questions at the heart of that central question. Today, the narrative we hear from the likes of Baba Kabiru. Baba Kabiru is Minister of Interior. Rauf Aregbesola, former governor of Osun State, his friends call him Baba Kabiru, who is saying the people who are asking for secession in Yoruba land, that they are foolish, that they are ignorant. Well, is Rauf Aregbesola in a position to say a man like Professor Banji Akintoye, who is one of the leading intellectuals in Yoruba land, is ignorant? Is he in a position to say that the leadership of Afenifere is ignorant? Is he in a position to say persons like Professor Wole Soyinka, Professor Soyinka has raised questions about the nature of the Nigerian nationhood? Is Baba Kabiru in a position to say that Professor Soyinka is ignorant? However, what you have seen, what you saw over the weekend, is a question of a Sunday Igboho-led team going to Ekiti to organize a rally, to attend a rally organized by Professor Banji Akintoye and Ilana Omo Oodua. Ilana Omo Oodua is clearly a secessionist group. They say that Nigeria has failed and that the Yoruba of the Southwest have tried everything to negotiate inside Nigeria. And if that negotiation is no longer possible, they would rather create an Oduduwa nation. It's not every Yoruba man that supports that. So you see that after the Civil War, it's not even just Biafra. It's not just even the Southeast where you have problems. You have problems everywhere in the country. And those who are saying that rather than just dismiss people as ignorant and foolish, the tendency that you see with Aregbesola is the same tendency of the APC leadership in the Southwest, is the tendency of the federal government. It's convenient to just say Nigeria is indivisible, is indissoluble. But can the people in charge of Nigeria, can they just make an attempt to listen to the people?
Yes.
I see an attempt not to listen, an attempt to impose fear. And if we listen, then perhaps there will be a conversation. Look at even the constitutional amendment process. The Senate President, the leadership of the House of Reps, it's like they've taken a position. And the Nigerian people are saying, you cannot take a position. You should listen to us. Because this democracy is about us, the people. So I think that, you have taken us to the present, you have taken us to the past. But the two are linked. For the future of Nigeria,
as always,
I think a conversation is important.
Right.
Government must listen. Government must not impose a regime of fear. And the people who are protesting about issues that need to be addressed, they are not less of citizens than those who are in positions of power.
So we can take our final story. I guess that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. See you tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much, Ojineka. Genex.
You're welcome.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.